Wonderful. And there's Ian. Excellent. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you had a chance to enjoy this beautiful spring day that we're having today. I'd like to welcome everyone to this meeting of the Boston Art Commission. My name is Alexandra Paul-Zotov, and I'm the Public Art Registrar within the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture. In this capacity, I'm also Administrator of the Boston Art Commission. Let's all just take a moment to update our names, pronouns, as well as make sure we're muted. In accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, we are conducting this meeting virtually. As a reminder, this has been extended until 2027. To ensure public access to the deliberations of the Boston Art Commission, the public may join this meeting through telephone and video conferencing. For those of you with us today, this meeting is being recorded and closed captioning is available. You may access it at the bottom of the screen. If you're having trouble locating this button, please chat us for assistance. The Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture and the Boston Art Commission believe that public art is any artwork installed in publicly accessible spaces where they can be experienced by all for free. For transparency and community input, artworks proposed for the City of Boston property are reviewed and discussed at public meetings of the Boston Art Commission on a regular, usually monthly basis. Working together with the public art team and the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture, the Boston Art Commission is an independent board composed of 2 ex officio and 7 volunteer community members appointed by the mayor. The BAC has the exclusive authority to approve and commission artworks intended to be added to the city's collection or be placed on city property. And I'm going to pass it off to my colleague, Birgit Worster. The public art team in MOAP facilitates the Boston Art Commission meetings and manages all phases and daily operations of the duties related to public art projects cited or proposed for city property in collaboration with our team. And here with us today is Amanda, who's helping facilitate the meeting, as well as Phil and Amber and Birgit. And now I'm going to pass it off to John.
Thanks so much, Paul. Welcome, everyone. I call this public hearing to order at 4:34 p.m. Today, the Commission is holding its monthly public meeting, and our meetings are generally held on the second Tuesday of every month. We engage in discussions about public art in Boston in order to foster the creation and collection of artworks that reflect the people, ideas, histories, and futures of Boston, which is located on the traditional homeland of the Massachusetts people and the neighboring Wampanoag and Nipmuc peoples. We acknowledge the atrocities committed against Indigenous peoples, all of the communities that have been subsequently harmed, and the ways in which colonialism has created systemic oppression. We recognize the continuing presence of these communities and the Indigenous peoples represented in the city's residents, in addition to those in the diaspora. We also recognize that Boston exists as a result of the forced labor and economic extraction from enslaved African Americans. I'll now take roll call of commissioners to confirm a quorum. After I say your name, Commissioner, please say here. I begin with Vice Chair James Mason.
Here.
Caitlin Lowry.
Here.
Kenny Mascari.
Here.
Abigail Norman.
Here.
Ian Altabir.
Here.
Diana Fernandez-Bibo.
Here.
And Nigel Jacob.
Here.
Thanks so much. We have a quorum. On this slide, you'll see today's agenda, which is also posted publicly on the city's website, boston.gov. Now, commissioners, in reviewing minutes from last month's meeting, I'm curious if there were any comments or modifications that you'd like to make. Hearing none, I wonder if any commissioner would make a motion to approve the February meeting minutes.
I can make a motion to approve the February minutes.
Thanks, Ian. Second?
I can second.
Thanks so much. Was that you, Caitlin?
It was.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, after I say your name, please say yes if you agree with the motion. James?
Yes.
Caitlin?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Nigel?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. The motion passes. I'll now pass to Paul to highlight the presentations for public review, and Birgit, who will give her director's report next.
Thanks, John. The first item on our agenda today is Splash and City Bus, which are long-term murals in the preliminary design phase for the Boston Housing Authority Central Warehouse on 44 West 7th Street in South Boston. The artists are Billy McGargle and Lisa Murphy. The proponent is the Boston Housing Authority. On the line is a temporary installation in the final design phase for Copley Square, and the artists are Burak, Arifoglu, and Nasibe Arifoglu. The proponent is the MIT Center for Constructive Communication. And next we have our third mural, Dreams in Color, which is a long-term mural as part of the Canvas of Culture final design for Mildred Avenue School in Mattapan, and the artist is Ms. Icar. And the proponent is Street Theory, the City of Boston, the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture. And our fourth and final presentation for review today is Sonic Titan, a long-term mural as part of Canvas of Culture in the final design phase for New Mission High School. And the artist is Joe Wardwell. And the proponent is Street Theory, City of Boston, the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture. And I'm going to pass it off to Birgit.
Great, thank you, Paul. At this time, there aren't any new updates about projects and installation, but we wanted to take a moment to uplift a recent episode of Craft in America on PBS, which features artist Limergy Fraser, whose sculptural work Call and Response, Radiating Safety, was recently installed at Engine 42 in Eggleston Square and is currently in the process of finalizing lighting programming. In the episode, Fraser, who was also a former City of Boston artist in residence, shares her practice and process, including some of the explorations that led to the design of Call and Response. And I think Amber will add a link to the chat that can connect you to that video if you're interested in watching it. And then year 2 of Canvas and Culture is in motion, and today you'll hear from some of the participating artists, with more presenting coming over the next couple of months. We're working closely with Boston Public School facilities on site visits, site prep, and final planning to ensure all remaining projects are complete by the end of the summer. As Street Theory's mural consultant contract comes to a close, I would like to take a moment to thank Liza Quinones for her tireless dedication to this program, and for centering artists and the school communities in the work, and for her partnership with the public art team throughout. Thank you, Liza. As the public art mural program develops beyond Canvas, our team is collaborating with the City of Boston Streets Cabinet to develop ground mural standards and guides, planning for future mural programs, and exploring ways to support the care and conservation of the city's existing murals. To date, the Commission has approved the preliminary designs of 2 of the 4 Copley Square public art projects, and this month we have procured site recommendations and design consultation services in order to finalize those designs for the 2 remaining projects, with Jessica Grant, Diana Weissman, and the late poet's work by Danielle Lagrosse-Georges for her poetry piece that was completed for the park. We anticipate these projects coming to the Commission later this spring. And now I will pass back to John.
Thanks so much, Birgit. Thanks, Paul. I will definitely watch Limergy's PBS special. That's great. Now we'll move on to items on the agenda for review, public testimony, and commission vote. The instructions show you how you can participate in today's meeting. And if you have technical difficulties, feel free to ask questions in the chat and a member of staff will help you. When public testimony is requested, you can press the raise your hand icon and we'll call on you. If you're calling in, press *9 to raise your hand. I'll now pass to James.
Thank you, John. Our goal is to make this meeting a good experience for all so that community members feel comfortable sharing their feedback and questions. When you're called on, please state your name, title, program, and organization. Please keep questions and comments project specific. Be mindful of and respectful of other people's time when speaking so that other participants feel comfortable adding their comments. You can submit longer written testimony at bac@boston.gov. All written testimony will be added to commissioners' folders in advance of monthly public meetings. While you may disagree with other attendees' testimony, you may not interrupt them during their allotted time. Speaking of time, as a reminder, presenters should keep their time under 5 minutes.
Thanks, James. Our first project for discussion is Splash and City Bus. And Amber, I'll pass to you.
Thank you.
Back on the agenda following artist selection approval last month, Erin Cousins, founder of Art Lifting, will share the designs of the mural selected for the BHA's new central warehouse. As a long-term installation, this project will return to the commission one more time for final design approval. So today's presentation will remain high level, so I'll hand it over to Erin to present.
Thank you, Amber. Thanks, everybody. Hello again. I am Erin with Art Lifting. We're partnering with the Boston Housing Authority and the community builders on this project. Icon Architecture was also instrumental in the design. And today we're looking at the preliminary design for 2 large scrim murals at 44 West 7th. The featured artists that you saw last time, just as a reminder for folks who were not there, are Billy McGargle and Lisa Murphy. And the goal of this is to introduce their really vibrant, colorful, welcoming public art to the BHA facility and contribute to the surrounding residential neighborhood. You can go ahead to the, oh wait, actually, yes, perfect, thank you. So the site is the BHA Central Storage Building. It functions primarily as a logistics facility, but it's within the residential area with regular pedestrian activity. So we had the tenant task force as a part of this project. Their community center is also nearby, as well as a weekly food distribution site. And the proposed artwork activates the facade and creates that visual interest from the street level, as well as from a distance, knowing that folks will be walking by. So it's not just something you're experiencing at the building, but within the surrounding neighborhood. Go ahead to the next slide. Just a quick context on Art Lifting to help paint the picture for those who weren't there last time. We work with artists with disabilities. We help connect their work with organizations and public spaces. And we support the artists through their career development, logistical support, and project management. So it allows our artists to participate in these larger scale installations like this one while focusing on their creative practice. Next slide, you'll see our first artist featured. This is Billy McGargle. He's an abstract painter and he communicates primarily through his artwork. He's autistic and nonverbal. His process is very expressive. You can kind of see in this photo, raking and flicking and rolling paint, which means that his compositions have a lot of movement and color. Next slide. You'll see just some additional examples of the energy and the color that actually makes his work very effective at a larger architectural scale. Our next artist is Lisa Murphy on the next slide. Lisa's abstract work explores her lived experiences, themes of identity, inclusion, and transformation. And art making has been personally very important for her in her health journey. On the next slide, you'll see her work, which uses a lot of bold color, strong structure. So again, her compositions are also highly legible at large scale, which was important for this project. Here you'll see the artworks in context. So the one panel being Lisa Murphy's. On the other side, we have a triptych of a piece called Splash by Billy McGargle. So these were the ones that were selected. The works will be large-scale scrim murals on the 2 facades of the building. They're each about 17 to 21 feet in height. And so there's, like I said, the one on the one side and then the 3 making an even larger mural on the other side. A little bit of a closer up picture here. Billy's piece Splash. A lot of color. We wanted the color compositions to kind of connect to each other. This one, if you are familiar with David Hockney's A Bigger Splash, the color palette is inspired by that piece, which is one of Billy's favorites. And then Lisa's City Bus piece uses a grid structure. It's influenced by Piet Mondrian and layers collage materials in the original to create that composition. On the next slide, oh, and here you can see the close-ups of these pieces. So this is one that was split into the triptych, and this one is pictured in its entirety. Each artwork is also accompanied by an interpretive plaque. This will be bilingual. It will provide information about the artists and the partnership behind the project. So as folks are walking by, they can connect to the artist's stories. I think on the next slide, you'll see more about the actual material itself. So in looking at the preliminary design, we were prioritizing durability, low maintenance, and flexibility, as well as something that would be appropriate for the scale and the conditions of the building. So the scrim system is a very resilient solution. It's flexible. It allows for a refresh in 5 years if that is desired, and it's something that can be reprinted if damaged. It's printed on I think Sadie, who's on the call, knows more about the material, but an ultra mesh polyester material, which is widely used for building wraps and outdoor graphics. And it has a 30% airflow, I learned, which reduces the wind load. So it makes it ideal for that outdoor setting. Also has very strong color reproduction. You can see if you had been by the South Station recently, you've seen this large scale scrim mural, so you can see the color vibrancy that it allows on that printing. Great. As part of this process too, you can see, so this is actually this is a previous project, the artist with the original. So similar method for this project where we will take we have the original piece, we get the scan, and then we're able to scale it up. And so for this project, we will be doing a new scan of Lisa's work, which is really exciting, to make that as high resolution as possible. We already have the scans of Billy's, and so that we'll get as much of the integrity of the original piece replicated at large scale, which will be really cool. Installation itself takes about 1 to 2 days. That part is pretty straightforward. Again, Sadie will back me up with more details, but my understanding is it's a perimeter frame system, keeps the material under tension, so it's smooth, looks really clean, and there's no movement. In terms of maintenance, the expected lifespan of the installation without any problems is about 5 years. Typical for this material and this type of installation. We recommended that the BHA perform an annual quality control inspection as part of their standard property maintenance to ensure that everything is looking good. On the next slide, so a little bit about our selection process. When we work with the client, we start by understanding the vision. We pull from our existing network of artists. We work with specifically disabled artists and find the right artists that we recommend for the project, show their work, and then further down actually select the artwork itself. As a part of this process, there was also the tenant task force that the BHA engaged with, in addition to the site management and operation teams. And so that included site visits, review discussions, and my understanding is that interpreters were provided as well to ensure accessibility. Dana, who's on the call, can speak to this process as well. On the next slide, you'll see some of the considerations that came into play. Feedback emphasized that people preferred bright, welcoming artwork, abstract as well, so that it had kind of a broad, multi-generational appeal, and those informed the final selections. Additional potential for future, someone like Lisa was also selected because she has facilitation and workshop experience, so there's opportunities to engage the community once the artwork is already installed. And then in terms of a preliminary schedule, we'll be next going to the final design stage based on any revisions and feedback that this committee has. After that, we will go through that scanning process for Lisa's work to make sure that we have that ready to go. And then the production of the actual scrim takes a few weeks. We'll schedule the install. We've already done a site visit, but we'll do another more in-depth one, and then produce the actual material. And as I said, installation's a quicker process, about 1 to 2 days there. If approved, that was the timeline. Budget is approximately $52,000. This covers the scrim fabrication, the design and project management, the shipping, and the installation. Sales tax may change. That always changes faster than I can keep up with it. I think that's it, unless I have a surprise slide at the end that I don't remember. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Erin. I really appreciate it. I now open it to any commissioners with questions or comments. And just as a reminder, this is preliminary design, and then Erin will return for final design. So it's both, we did the artist selection, now we're looking at the designs. If we have any changes or adjustments we'd like to make, and then Aaron will come back for final design. So this is sort of the midpoint that we're voting on.
I'll just say, I don't have a question, but I like the fact that both of the artists are using bright, colorful pieces, which is what your aim was for. So I applaud you on that.
Any other comments from commissioners? I do know, Aaron, I did have one quick question for you because I walk by South Station nearly every day, and the piece there looks so beautiful. It really, really does. But I think it's sort of abstract nature lends itself to like how would I say, the resolution has a little bit of fuzziness around the edges, but I think it really works for that piece. I'm curious for these, which are so detailed and so intricate, if these high resolution scans will resolve a little bit of that. Do you expect that to be the case?
Yes, so Alan's work, who is the artist that you saw for South Station, is a little bit different because it's originally done in paper cut, and then it typically is vectorized when we do that at such a large scale. That was a huge piece, and so the combination of the level of his original works are much smaller with the scale that was at. It had to be vectorized in order to be at that scale. And so it's the nature of his piece as well, but that's part of the reason why we're focusing on getting the higher res scans of Lisa's work in particular, because it has more of that sharpness to it. Billy's work is in the nature of it more forgiving as well because it has that gestural movement. But to your point, that is part of the reason for the high resolution scans, and the combination of these pieces being larger and the scrim being smaller also helps to mitigate some of that. Sadie, I don't know if you had any other notes on that besides what I covered.
I think you summarized that beautifully.
Thanks.
Thanks, Aaron. Any other commissioner questions or comments?
John, I do have a question, and maybe this one's for you, Aaron. So are you guys going to test the scans before the full production is? Like oftentimes you'll get a, I don't know, 24 by 36 section just to confirm the quality.
Yes, we can get a digital proof and a physical proof.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Any other comments? I'll now open it up to any members of the public with a question. Well, hearing none. Aaron, I would be curious to ask, and MOAC staff, if once you receive that piece of material, is it possible to also show that to MOAC staff?
I think so, yeah. Sadie, would that be a problem?
Yeah, we can produce multiple samples to send to different stakeholders.
Birgit, Paul, Amber, would that be helpful for you all just to see what the quality of the image looks like?
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for mentioning that. We're happy to connect with how we can hand that off or receive that through mail. Thanks. Okay, great. With that, would any commissioner like to make a motion to approve preliminary design of Splash and City Bus?
I will make a motion to accept the preliminary design of Splash and City Bus.
Thanks, James. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Kenny. After I say your name, say yes if you agree with the motion. James?
Yes.
Caitlin?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Nigel?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Congratulations. And we'll see you again, I believe, in April.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time. See you in April.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Our next project for discussion will be On the Line, temporary installation and final design for Copley Square. And Amber, I'm passing this off to you.
Thank you.
Every year, we see proposals for public art projects supported by grant programs across the city, from nonprofit organizations to our local colleges. This project, coming out of the MIT Center for Constructive Communication, is unique for its use of sound. Since submitting their proposal last fall, design changes requested by our team, the Parks Department, and the Disabilities Commission have included mounting buttons at an accessible height for wheelchair users, using accessible cable coverings, and exploring temporary approaches to the ground markings. But I'll invite Nasibe up to speak more about how these elements come together as an interactive installation. Nasibe?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Hi, thank you for having us today. My name is Nasibe Dundar Arifoglu, and I'm presenting together with Burak Arifoglu. We are the artists and the designers of On the Line, a temporary participatory listening installation proposed for the Copley Square. And in the next slide, thank you. We are also the founders of MASA, a design practice we established in 2021. MASA designs architectures of relations, spaces and systems that gives a form to collaboration and collective authorship. Our work explores the intersection of ecology, exploratory technology, and public space, developing tools that help people gather, listen, and be together. Masa means table in Turkish, a place for a dialogue, shared inquiry, and exchange. And our practice extends this idea into a public realm by creating environments that invite participation and collective engagement. And On the Line grows directly from this approach. Next slide, please. And this project developed in partnership with MIT Center for Constructive Communication at the MIT Media Lab, which develops tools that help communities listen to one another and engage in constructive public dialogue. Our project builds on Real Talk Boston Archive, a collaboration between MIT Center for Constructive Communication, the nonprofit Cortigo, and 11 community organizations across Boston. Through facilitated small group conversations, residents share stories about their experiences in the city, what feels difficult, what feels hopeful, what they imagine for Boston's future, creating a growing civic archive of Boston's voices. And what you will see in the installation are small fragments from that archive, reflecting themes and moments that emerge from those conversations. Next slide, please. Thank you. And the MIT Center for Constructive Communication invited artists through an open call to explore ways of bringing this archive into public space. We were selected and started developing this project in July. In November, we also presented a public mock-up of the listening concept, allowing visitors to experience the project idea and helping inform the development of the installation. In the next slide, please. Thank you. And On the Line is a temporary participatory listening installation proposed for Copley Square. We chose Copley Square because it is one of the Boston's most active public spaces, a place where residents, workers, students, visitors move through and gather every day. And that everyday movement feel very important to us. Can we go to the next slide, please? This project is really about encountering another voice, another story, another perspective within the life of the city. And next slide, please. This installation designed specifically for this environment, creating a subtle listening at moments within the existing movement of the square. And this project has three main components: listening, recording, and ground markings. Together, these three elements bring the archive into physical space and allow the public to engage with it directly. Next slide. Thank you. The first component is listening. The installation creates focused listening zones within the square using directional sound technology, where someone steps into one of these zones. They hear stories and reflections from Boston's residents drawn from the Real Talk Boston archive. This creates a very direct and personal encounter with the archive in the public space. And in the next slide, the project uses audio spotlight technology, directional speakers developed by Holosonics, who are sponsoring the sound technology of the installation. These speakers emit highly focused beams of sound that are audible only within a specific listening zone. So visitors step into a zone, hear a voice clearly, while the broader acoustic environment of the square remains calm. This was very important for us because it allows the work to create intimacy while remaining respectful to the rest of the site. And the directional speakers, in the next slide, you will see that the directional speakers project sound outward and creating a central acoustic blind spot that provides a quiet and intimate recording zone. The second component for this project is the recording. In the next slide, you can see that the visitors are invited to contribute their own reflections through recording points integrated into the installation, through repurposed telephones. This allows the archive to remain active and evolving over time. So the installation becomes a space where city can hear itself, where new voices can contribute and can continue to be added. And the third component is the ground markings. The installation extends beyond the structures themselves through the temporary chalk-based marking that guide visitors towards the listening zones and recording points. So these markings gently invite people to slow down, explore, and engage with the project. They also help make the system legible in the square. And as noted in the commissioner's packet, the full ground marking text are included there for the review. And within the installation, different listening points focus on different themes drawn from the archive. These includes everyday city life, belonging, celebration, shared urban experiences. And this structure help organize the listening experience while keeping it open and accessible for people moving through the site. And in addition to the ground markings, signage helps orient visitors and explain how they can listen and contribute. Together, the signage and ground markings support the public engagement and make the system easy to understand. And we worked very closely with Park and Public Art team to review the safety and structural aspect of the installation. In the next slide, you can see that each installation unit is a freestanding temporary structure built from a lightweight lumber frame with CNC cut plywood panels, integrated holosonics directional speakers that are also protected with the perforated metal panels with perforated details and translucent panel elements that support light diffusion and visibility. So each of the unit is freestanding, and you can see it in the next slide that with an internal ballast and stabilization, the overall system is designed for safe deployment in the square. And the installation requires no ground penetration. All components are fully removable, and the project remains clear to pathways and ADA accessibility. In the next slide, you can see some of those drawings. And electrical connections are routed beneath the pavers in coordination with the site guidance, which supports safe pedestrian circulation and cleaner installation. And the detailed technical materials are also included in the commissioner's packet. In terms of timeline, the project will first have a preview presentation in MIT Media Lab lobby in early April. And we are excited about this phase because it allows the system to be experienced before its installation in Copley Square, and we will be very happy to welcome commissioners there as well. And following that, the installation in Copley Square is planned from 25th of April to July 9th. And installation will take place through a coordinated one-day deployment with a professional handling team in collaboration with Media Lab and the Parks team. And if approved and coordinated with the parks, we may also conduct a site preparation day before the installation, particularly for the electrical routing beneath the pavers. And throughout the exhibition period, we will conduct weekly inspections of the structural and audio system. And we will also remain to respond quickly if any issue arises. This is a very carefully monitored temporary installation, and all temporary elements, including the ground markings, at the end of the exhibition period will be removed and site will be restored to its original conditions. On the line invites the city to pause and listen to itself by bringing voices across Boston into the Copley Square, and project creates a shared moment of reflection within the everyday life of the city. It's temporary, carefully monitored installation designed to be fully removable while opening a small space for listening, encounter, and civic connection. Thank you. Thanks so much for the opportunity to present the project today, and we would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much for that presentation. It was pretty thorough. Well, I won't ask my question first. I will open it up to any commissioners who has a question or a comment at this time.
I have a question. I love this project. Thank you so much for your beautiful presentation and for all the work that went into this. I'm curious about what people will hear when they listen. Will they hear stories from an archive that you have already created? And if so, can you describe that archive?
Yes, sorry.
Or will they hear the stories that people are telling during the period of the installation?
It's actually both. We have a creation of the voices from the Real Talk Boston archive. There's a website also you can go through. It's called realtalk.boston. It is a initiative that with 11 community groups around Boston came together around facilitated conversations, talked about Boston, about belonging, neighborhood change, opportunity, shared life in the city. And this is a carefully facilitated and archived, moderated archive of all these conversations. It represents different backgrounds and different groups around Boston. And we are also inviting people to reflect and record their own responses to our invitations to prompts, but that will be also handled and monitored by MIT Center for Constructive Communication. It will first go into this archive and be moderated, and then the ones that was approved will come back to the installation and create a participatory setting.
Thank you so much for explaining.
Thank you.
I have a bit of a follow-up question. Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. Sorry, Diana, did you want to go first? I just saw you raised your hand. Okay. With regard to this kind of changing archive, so are you administrating that? How do the new entries really get vetted, and how soon do they appear in the mix? And then, sorry, one follow-up question to that too, with regard to the design. Can you describe the materiality of those kind of arcs, those arc-like lines that are on the pavement amongst the words?
Yes. The ground markings, the material is, we are using a temporary chalk-based spray paint called Rockall. It's durable for 2 to 3 months, durable to the rain and also a public walking on it. But then with a stiff brush and water, it's easily removable as well at the end of the installation. And you can also find the specs for it in the commissioner's packet. In terms of the timing of when the recordings will come back to the system, is every sound that is recorded will go through a system. First will be transcribed and selected through an AI. And then MIT Center for Constructive Communication, researchers and us as well, we will go through and select the ones that will come back to the archive, and I think it will take a couple days for this to happen. So the recorded voices would come back to the system within a couple days. If it's appropriate, if it's also if it is legible, if it is not just like noise or yeah.
Diana?
I really want to compliment you on this piece. It's so exciting to see both an art piece that's also engaging with architecture in such a unique way. I wonder if you can go to the slide that shows the detail of the actual pieces as you're approaching them. Because I think one of the things that I don't know if maybe you've thought about this already is, yeah, I think this image is great. Copley is a really vibrant part of our city, and there's always lots of programming. We have the library across the street, and it makes me think too of how this will also be used as play by children, especially those like ramps that are kind of coming up to the screen. So I don't know if you've thought about that or if you're thinking about it, but I just want to compliment you on sort of the elegance of it and the curvature of the lines all kind of like working together, and whether you've thought through this sort of like play element and how maybe some of our smaller folks moving through these public spaces may engage with this, and whether or not you intend on doing any sort of public life surveys where you're observing how people are not just recording within your devices, but also engaging with the architecture itself.
All great points. Yeah, we would love to, of course, absorb and watch. That's one of my biggest dreams, to go there and see how people are engaging with it in various different ways. In terms of play, we did not actually intend it to be playful, but we also carefully thought about not leaving any holding points within the system so that it's not possible for people to actually go on it, play with it. They could all, as you are saying, suggesting they could use it as a slide, but then it's very stable so that it's not really possible to go on top of it. It's really high as well. So it is playful in a way with the colors and also the form, but not intended actually for playing with it. We try to eliminate that aspect of it to create a safety.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I'll jump in and ask my question. And so from my vantage point, it does look like an incline going up. And is that correct?
Yes.
And so part of my, Diana talked about the playfulness, and I'm thinking about if it's an incline, but there's nothing on either side to grab hold of to steady yourself going up or down it. Was that based on the height of the incline? Was there no need for that? So that's my first question. Then I want to follow up on Ian's question, following up on Abigail's question, is that after the deinstall of this, what happens to the archive in terms of all of the people who contributed during the installation? Where does that go? And if it's used again, do people know that as well?
That is a great question. Real Talk Boston Archive is publicly accessible. At the moment, the recorded sounds are online and you can find them and listen to them. And we are also hoping to create an additional sub section of it that comes from Copley Square. And we are also hoping to have this installation in various different places in the future as well, so that we could have different inputs around Boston. But those will be online and accessible. But we will carefully mention that these recordings are they could be republished to the archive, so it will be said whilst they are recording, before they're recording. And about the incline, the reason why we made this shape is actually coming from the function of the directional speakers. This is how the sound is moving. This is how it works as a spotlight, basically. It opens up like with a 10 degree, and creates a intimate sound zone. So that was the inspiration, but also the back part of it creates the same kind of a dip in the back. It also represents the sound you record will go through from in the front of the system. It will go through the object and to the public space. So it's kind of a representation of all these aspects of the design. And if I can tell anything more, if I didn't understand the question about the inclination, please can you repeat? Or
Yeah, it was just about, I didn't read the spec, so I'm not quite sure how high that incline is, and if it's sort of like a ramp going up. I was
Yeah.
just wondering if there was a way for someone to hold on to either side if they were to slip or to keep themselves steady going up or down it. So that was my only
I
question.
see. I see. It's three. It changes in each unit. The highest one goes up to 3 feet, but in an incline. But there's nothing that they can hold on to, so um it's not like they can go up all the way, and it's like 4 feet in total. The width of the structure is 4 feet. It's like a 2 feet uh, wide inclination, and we can always reduce that as well. That is the highest one. As you can see, the one that you see has a square profile in the back, but the others, I don't know if you have an image of it, are more like a um they are longer, and they goes a bit more lower to the ground. But we are happy to play with that shape if necessary.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Nasibe, if I could just ask a follow-up question, because I know that in the past, we've had a situation with a very beautiful installation in a park and the artists thought that they had protected against children putting themselves in dangerous positions on the structure, and it turned out not to be adequate to the creativity and ingenuity of children in their pursuit of impish, experience. So I'm just thinking about, skateboards and other things that happen in the park, and just kind of maybe amplifying a little bit the question that was asked before about play,
Yeah.
just to be careful.
I can add to that. Essentially, how much weight could something like that hold if, to Abigail's point, someone were to hang off from it? Like, how much weight would it take to like crumble or bring that structure down?
It's not really likely that it will come down, and we had a very careful calculation with engineer consultation on this. Each unit is 230 kilogram itself, and we are using another 240 to bring it up to 470 minimum to the weight. We made this calculation based on if people try to move it, or if people try to tip it over, if they push it in a certain, if they step on it, if they try to push it in a certain way. And it's very unlikely that even a couple people together, if they try, it will not be possible to move it. It's really heavy, and we are also using pads in the underneath to increase the friction, so that it's almost an additional protection on top of that weight calculation. But we are happy to bring additional weights. We have enough space inside the units that we can always increase the weight of the units to make it even more stable. But whilst we are making the calculations, we made it based on different possible possible ways to engage with it. And you can also find a detailed report about this in the commissioner packet.
Thank you.
I had a last question, or another question, or a question. I'm just curious about your use of AI in the piece. It's very cool and interesting. Out of curiosity, is this a commercial model, or is it a model that was developed at MIT?
Yes, it is developed in MIT. It's mostly used for transcribing and also categorizing. There's different tags in each input, like different emotions related to the input and different subcategories, because we are also separating the units in different themes, like rhythm of the life, hence that whole like city in celebration, city that listen back, like about hopes, festivals, like hesitations. There's different tags under each input. So AI does that, but to be able to have a recording in as a highlight, highlighting that recording and put it into the system requires a real person to listen and put it in that folder. So AI is mostly doing that categorization and also the transcribing.
Interesting. I'm curious if you've gotten any questions about this use of AI, because to my knowledge, it's the first public space use of AI. I mean, not that you're deploying anything necessarily like an AI model in the space, but it is in a sense being used on public data or in the public right of way. I'm just curious about that. If it's been an issue at all.
The research background of it, I think someone from Center for Constructive Communication would respond to this better than me, better than myself. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily trying to pin you down. I'm just curious as to
Yeah.
that bit of things, but it's a very interesting idea.
Thank you.
Are there any other commissioners who wish to make a comment or have a question at this point? We'll open it up to the general public if they have a question or a comment at this time.
Oh, yes. Also, Marina from Center for Constructive Communication is here on behalf of the Center for Constructive Communication that could respond to questions.
Would she like to respond to Nigel's query?
Hi there. Yeah, do you mind repeating the query? I want to make sure I have it exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like a very general question about if there's been, has anybody made any comments in terms of any of the, I guess, the government representatives that you met with? Has anybody asked you questions about the use of AI in a public space like this?
Most definitely. And that's the interesting thing about the conversations already in the network, that this was the conversation on the meta level about, oh, we're using AI just to transcribe this at the end, and a human will be listening and categorizing it with some help, but honestly, very minor help from AI. But even explaining to someone what it means to have AI transcribe is a long conversation, and they do want to know what model we're using and things like that. So that's a conversation we had before every conversation. And the hard thing here is that unless you have someone standing next to it, there's no accessible way to describe it. So I'm happy to give handouts, but I've seen that not work super well. That's just a big explanation to give for something that's minor, but also has like large implications that you're nodding to.
Yeah.
So happy to keep thinking through this. That's my brief answer.
And commissioners, the artists have also mentioned that they would welcome the opportunity to kind of maybe give a tour at some point as soon as this is in the public realm, if the project goes through the commission. So I'd be happy to follow up and organize that. I think that might be an excellent way to kind of learn more about and ask these questions, because I do think that they are very, very interesting and very relevant, especially as we continue to ramp up.
Thank you, Paul. And I left with anyone from the general public. I didn't hear anything. And so I'm going to wonder if there's a commissioner who wishes to make a motion about this final design temporary installation on Copley Square.
I would like to make a motion to approve this temporary installation for Copley Square.
I'll second that.
Thank you, both Abigail and Diana. So we will now put it up for a vote. When I call your name, please say yes if you agree. John,
Yes.
Ian,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Nigel,
Yes.
Caitlin,
Yes.
Kenny,
Yes.
Abigail,
Yes.
and I am a yes as well. So the motion carries, and we look forward to this installation and be able to walk through it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We will be very happy to meet and do the walkthrough. Thank you.
Our next presentation for review is Dreams in Color for the Mildred Avenue School. And I believe I turn to Amanda.
Thank you, John. So next we'll hear from artists who have created works for Boston Public Schools as part of a canvas of culture. I first want to echo Birgit's earlier comments and thank Liza for guiding this canvas program from the start. I just realized I turned my video off. And for her vision and leadership that has set us up for success as we carry these projects through the spring and summer. These works will have a true lasting impact on these schools, and we're really grateful for this collaboration. So Liza, I will now pass it over to you for your last meeting you're joining us with, to the artists you will be presenting today.
Thanks, Amanda. I really appreciate yours and Birgit's and the whole team's very kind words. It's been an amazing opportunity to work with the team and with the city over the past 3 years and see executed a lot of really incredible work across Boston Public Schools in the city. So our first presentation is from an artist collective who have previously installed public artwork in Boston through the Transformative Public Art Program. We are very excited to welcome them back to transform the Mildred Ave K-8 schools cafeteria with a dynamic acoustic panel mural. The Icar Artist Collective was selected for a design-only scope. They will present their designs and I will return afterwards to discuss the fabrication and installation process, which will be managed by MOAC. I will now turn it over to Ms. Icar.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? I'm Ms. from the Icar Collective.
And I'm Tristan.
And we're a part of an anonymous art collective rooted in radical futurity, play, and autonomy. We work across large-scale murals, immersive installations, projection mapping, and augmented reality. Our practice centers community storytelling as both a method and offering. We focus on portals for memory, migration, and cultural continuity. And we blend tactile processes along with digital processes. The collective has exhibited in institutions and galleries, including the Color Girls Museum, Mint Gallery, Welling-Cora, Photoville, Michigan State University, and has created large-scale public arts projects and immersive installations. So for this project, we are proposing a large-scale multi-panel acoustic mural installation for the cafeteria at Mildred Ave, and it celebrates the energy, creativity, and collective identity of the school. It's designed as a dynamic visual landscape. The mural combines figurative imagery with bold abstract forms, vibrant color, and layered textures that move across the wall, creating a sense of motion and possibility. Children appear through the composition in moments of play and discovery, representing curiosity, learning, and the everyday joy of being together at the school. The cafeteria, as we even experience, is one of the most active gathering spaces in the school, and students from different grades come together, and we are excited to help transform this space with color and motion. Dreams in Color, Dreams in Color explores themes of play, imagination, movement, growth, expressed through vibrant compositions of figures. The design incorporates reoccurring visual themes identified during engagement with the students, including space, love, flowers, basketball. And it also includes natural elements such as the Mayflower and Black-Eyed Susan. Together, the elements will create a layered visual environment that blends figurative storytelling with abstract color pattern, resulting in a mural that's playful and visually engaging. Next slide, please. So our community engagement was a huge part of the design process. We spent a full school day at Mildred Ave School, and we worked directly with the students and teachers through an interactive participatory workshop designed to introduce the project and invite students' participation in the artwork. During the sessions, students participated in a collaborative future signals workshop. And so they were invited to imagine what their school and community might communicate to the future. Students created drawings and visual signals using colors, symbols, shapes, and patterns to represent ideas such as joy, friendship, exploration, and play. The activity was designed to be accessible to the students across the school's K through 8th grade, and they allowed the younger students to work primarily through imagery and color, while older students incorporated more symbolic and narrative elements. The teachers and staffs were also included in the sessions, and they helped facilitate discussions. And they also participated with the future signals as well, and they shared insight about daily life with the school. Some of the reoccurring themes and visual motifs from the students' work included space imagery, flowers, hearts, sports references, bold abstract patterns. We documented them and later incorporated them into the mural design. And the student-generated patterns and markings informed a lot of like the textures and visual rhythm that's in the final composition. Next slide, please. So here is the full artwork across the scope, Dreams in Color. It's on both sides, like there's a left and right side of the cafeteria. Can I get the next slide? This shows how they'll be broken up into the acoustic panels. And so there, each wall, we're bringing a lot of color and movement. The patterns that are in there are patterns that were informed and created a lot by the students. And we got a chance to kind of we wanted to reflect what the students' desires and ambitions and energies were back to them. So this would be, if you're walking into the cafeteria, the left side of the cafeteria. And this would be the right side of the cafeteria as well. And so this is how the panels break down and reflect the mural for Dreams in Color.
Thank you so much. I will jump in now just to talk briefly about the design intervention, our fabrication process, as well as installation. And so when Birgit and I did site scoping more than a year ago, we visited Mildred Ave K through 8 school and noticed just how loud the cafeteria was. And in addition to that, just visually noticing the current acoustic panel systems damaged and deteriorating. The acoustic panel mural is something that we've seen before. It's something that currently exists in the commissions or the city's public art collection. As you'll see here in this middle image, that was a large-scale acoustic mural panel that was developed for the Josiah Quincy Upper Campus. We will be working with a fabricator and installer called Clipso. And they have a unique opportunity to develop acoustic panels that are made in custom shapes, which the artist team took full advantage of in really steering away from just a rectangular form to really thinking about cutouts in ways that the artwork could take form. Part of the design intervention here was also understanding through our conversations with Clipso that increasing the panel coverage to 50 to 60% of the surface area would improve acoustic performance. And so all of these aspects were taken into consideration for the intervention of both the performance of the work as well as the aesthetic value to the campus. Next slide, please. And so for the fabrication, as you saw, the artwork will be located along the upper wall band of the cafeteria. This work will be custom printed on Calypso stretch acoustic fabric. The acoustic panels are fabricated utilizing an aluminum frame system, which will be fabricated off-site. And the printed acoustic fabric is then stretched and tensioned over the aluminum frame. It will also have a high impact polyester acoustic core with a special emphasis on materials that are non-fiberglass for the long-term durability as well as safety to the community. Next slide, please. And luckily, the installation is undertaken by the same fabrication company. Again, they are prefabricated acoustic panels and mounted along the upper wall band. Vibration Products is actually the company that is Calypso certified and utilizes the Calypso product. And so they are the ones who are both doing the fabrication and the installation of this work. Part of the installation plan requires the removal of the old acoustic system, some wall restoration, some patch and paint. We'll be verifying the wall substrate and attachment points, and then coordinating with the school to install the final work.
You do cash? No, I don't work here, but I was saying, because this is the.
Thanks so much, Liza, and thank you, Ms. and Tristan, for the presentation. I now open it up to commissioners for any questions or comments.
Can I just jump in and say how beautiful this looks? I'm so impressed with this design. It's so vibrant. I love how you've incorporated so much of the students' motifs as well. I just think it's so successful. And kudos too for trying to mitigate the noise as well with something beautiful. I think it's brilliant.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I just want to second Ian. I think we're on the same wavelength tonight. I think this piece is amazing. I love the colors. I also just want to shout out the artist too for integrating the students' work into the mural itself. It's just like what a special way for the students to kind of see themselves in that space. And then I just want to make a plug and thank Liza again. I think it's just been so amazing to work with you. And you felt like when I first joined the commission, I thought you were you were within MOAC. And I just want to thank you so much because my tenure here has really been a lot of these murals that we've seen across our schools, and very much appreciate your work there.
Thank you so much.
Any other commissioner comments? I now open it up to any members of the public who may have a question or would like to make a comment. Hearing none, would any commissioner like to make a motion for approval?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Thanks so much, Kenny. Do I have a second?
So seconded.
Thanks, Ian. Say yes after I say your name if you agree. James?
Yes.
Caitlin?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Nigel?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Congratulations, Ms. and Tristan. Really excited to see this come to life.
Thank you so much. We're so excited. The whole process has been a lot of fun. Thank you for everyone involved, Liza, everybody. Thanks.
Thanks.
John, I have this one. Our next project for discussion is Sonic Titan. a long-term mural as part of the Canvas of Culture Final Design New Mission High School. And Liza, I am passing this off to you.
Thank you so much, James. Happy to be back for our next presentation. Our next project is a hand-painted interior mural painted by Joseph Wardwell. Joseph Wardwell is also somebody who has done work for the city before and whose works exist in the city's public art collection. Joe's mural will be installed in the entry vestibule of New Mission High School in Hyde Park. The vestibule features a very unique sort of Gothic cathedral-like ceiling, which many of you may remember from when we did the artist selection. And this introduces a very interesting and challenging architectural surface that lends itself really beautifully to Joseph's aesthetic. I will now introduce Joseph Wardwell to present his design.
Hi, all. Can you guys hear me? All right. Thank you. Thank you, Liza. Thank you. I'll echo everyone's. I've only worked with you for a little while, but it's been really enjoyable. And thank you very much for everything you've done to help get to this project to where it is now. Also, I'm very excited to be a part of this project as a parent of 2 Boston Public School kids. It's really nice to be working with the school and to try to do something in this space. If you want to go to the next slide. Oh, I guess that's about me. I'm live in JP. My studio is here in Dorchester, and I did the Roxbury Public Library mural, and have exhibited around. I also teach painting and drawing at Brandeis, and have been part of the Boston arts community since about 1997. Next slide, please. As Liza said, it was a pretty challenging space to think about originally. A lot of my work and my large-scale murals are heavily influenced by sort of fresco paintings from many different cultures and sort of the chromatic experience that can happen across a large expanse of architecture. And this one definitely put me to the task with trying to figure out how to invigorate the whole space. I wanted to make a space that was, a very welcoming chromatic experience to the community as they entered the school. Created a dynamic experience as students kind of pass through into the school. So if you go to the next slide. So where I kind of landed on was this cool kind of sky celestial experience that as you move across the space, that sort of continuous planes across the ceiling or across the arches would be kind of moving in these gradients. And then as you kind of shifted planes on sort of right angles, that you would change color with the addition of these sort of large color bands that kind of go up through the main arch of the space that kind of meet in the middle towards where the lights are. All of my work uses text, and so they're sort of trying to create dynamic text that I'll talk about in a moment. When we were many different kind of iterations that I was working with and went back and forth to the school, and then I think this is where we kind of landed on with this idea of if you go to the next slide. This is kind of a flattened out sense of where you can see sort of the sort of undulating gradients and the arches going through it. And then the sonic part just kind of came from the title, came from the idea of having these gradients, but then these sort of the blue bands that kind of reverberate the text, that kind of use this kind of echoing of both the arch, but also thinking of like the text kind of moving through that as well. And the idea is, if you go to the next slide, idea is that if it goes, that it would have this experience go throughout the entire space. This slide is just thinking of how you would move through. It's just a representation of the floor. different, because I couldn't get all of it in one angle, but and that the gradients would be constantly, oh, if you could go back one. If the gradients could be constantly changing. And the idea was that it's not represented here, but if you see in that first slide, the idea is to paint the entire ceiling as well. And so that the colors kind of function like a horizon where they're kind of that pale yellow kind of at the base, and it kind of moves to an aqua color and then moves to the sky, sort of celestial at the top of the ceiling. Okay, now you can go to the next slide. So, the school, with meeting with the school and doing a little research on the school as well, they're the Titans, and there were 5 arches, and they use each one of the words for, tenacity, integrity, tolerance, academic excellence, and nurture as their sort of their mission statement. And to me, it didn't seem, it seemed to me that since there were 5 arches going across the whole space, to use these powerful words and connect to the school and their larger mission just seemed kind of a no-brainer. They're words that carry a lot of weight, and just playing with having the text alternate between positive and negative, so that it also reads kind of visually and doesn't end up just sort of like looming over the students and communities they come through. You go to the next slide, please. And also the gradient is, their colors are yellow and blue, and so the gradient, which are that gradient is something I use on a lot of my work, and so the connecting of this I don't know how subtle it is or not, but it is kind of like subtly moving through the gradient throughout the space that kind of reflects the cool colors of the space. You go to the next slide, please. And then one other point of possible collaboration as well is that inside the, well, that image didn't come out very well in this slide there, but inside the bands, there's the orange bands that go up through the arches. My idea was to create a second layer of text that we collaborate with the school, either with direct content from one of the classes or with finding something that works with them, whether it's a mission statement or quotes about education that could work, but have these bands of text that kind of go across the top in the small. They would be about 2 to 3 inches inside the color bands. They can seem better somehow in the image that didn't come out. The next slide, please. And then lastly, this is, I was asked during design, the durability, since it's a high use space, and all the murals that I've done, I use a silica-based paint instead of a latex paint, which, if you don't know, it dries much, much harder than a latex paint. Is much more durable. For the high use areas, it's Guerra Paint Company, and I've never really had any problems with it. In any of the murals. And we talked with the school about possible installation dates, and we were thinking primarily pending approval, we would be installing in April, during the April break primarily, but then the school administrators were very generous, talking about how we could work as well during school day after students come in, because there's only one door that gets used in that space. And then that kind of prompted discussion about having some of the art classes come in and seeing the process, because all the different layers of text and bands of color get applied through stencils, as you can see in that example there. And so then talking to the students about the process as it's going along, and then potentially doing a project with one of the art classes with the art teacher who was part of our meeting. And just say thank you very much.
Thank you. Those arches are really challenging, so I admire what you've started off here with. I will now turn to any commissioner who has a question or a comment at this time.
Joe, thanks so much for your presentation and for bringing this to us. I just had one question. For nurture, you don't have the color gradients of the sort of yellow and blue, and I was just curious why.
You know, I was just playing around with the idea of breaking up the consistency on that, and I don't know if ultimately it would have the same stencil design of cutting halfway through and flipping the positive and negative. But that was something I was open to suggestions about.
I was mostly just curious.
Thank you for that curiosity. Does any other commissioner have any questions or comments?
Yeah, just just want to give you a shout out for, you know, taking on the arches and coming up with a design that speaks to it. You know, it's important considering that, you know, both as part of the site visit and even when the artist selection, there was attention. And I think there's a way that you've used that particularity to your advantage, and that adds a dimension that other murals that you've probably done or others that we've done as part of this program haven't had. So just wanted to recognize the uniqueness of your approach to this unique facade as well.
Thank you. Thanks so much. It really was a lot. I thought it would be a lot easier than it was to try to think of a design. And so it was really, you know, and like I said, I really wanted to activate the entirety of the space. And because of the way it's structured, there's no way to cut small parts of it out and still have the sort of a dynamic design, in my opinion. And so I was kind of trying to figure out how to work with the entirety of the space.
Any other commissioners? Okay, then we'll open it up to the general public. Does anyone have a question or a comment at this time? The general public has been very quiet this meeting. Having heard nothing, I wonder if there is a commissioner who wishes to make a motion to accept the final design for called Sonic Titan as a long-term mural as part of the Campus of Culture at the new Mission High School. You don't have to say all of that, but does anyone have a motion to make at this time?
So moved.
That was really abbreviated. Yes. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
that.
I would like to say a do-over, but three of you said something.
You choose, James.
I'm trying to remember. Okay, I'll go with Nigel. Sorry, the rest of you. Nigel, Liz. With that being said, we will now vote on the matter. When I call your name, please say yay. John.
Yes.
Ian.
Yes.
Diana.
Yes.
Nigel.
Hey.
Caitlin.
Yes.
Kenny.
Yes.
Abigail.
Yes.
And I am a yes as well. And the motion carries. And we accept the final design. I look forward to see those arches.
Thank you very much. Thank you all very much.
Congratulations, Joe.
Thank you.
I believe our last order of business is to adjourn, but first I did just want to once again, I know many of us have done it today, give a huge thank you to Liza for all of the work that you've done. It really has been amazing to work with you and to see the depth and breadth of the artists that you've brought to us through this Campus of Culture program. And I know so many of us have such admiration for you and really hope to see what you do next. So thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, it's easy to see what I do next. I opened up a gallery in Central Square. So I have an exhibition open now called Everything and More. It's an all-women show up through April 11th. So come by and visit.
And Liza, just tell us all where it is again.
It's at 541 Mass Ave in Cambridge, Central Square.
Thanks so much. I know we'll all
And
be
thank
there.
you all.
So would any commissioner like to make a motion to adjourn?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Thanks, James. Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Thanks, Abigail. Please say yes if you agree with the motion. James,
Yes.
Caitlin,
Yes.
Kenny,
Yes.
Abigail,
Yes.
Ian,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Nigel,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Thank you all so much. MOAC staff, thank you so much. And we'll see you all next month.
Bye.
Have a good night, y'all.